Anira kore por, anira kore tam, anira kore tur, anira kore tam, anira kore tur, anira kore tam, anira kore tur, anira kore tam. Good evening, beautiful infinite beings. This is in our Silvertree here, and I welcome you to this space. This is my first time doing an official rune reading, and so let's get started. So, the system that I intuitively feel guided to use deals with the elements: the earth element, the wind element, the water element, the fire element, and ether, spirit. And so this reading will be a guided reading focused on the human collective, the connection between the elements that make up our reality with the consciousness of the human collective, of our species. So let us begin. I will be using handmade tools. The runes are made, the wood is made from the choka tree. It's a type of cherry tree, and I handpicked the branch, and I felt connected with this tree, and so I used this tree, the branch of this tree, to use as a tool. All the spiritual tools that you'll see in my rune readings or any spiritual or energy readings will be made by hand. And the symbols, the sigils that I use in my or for my runes come directly from source, directly from spirit, through some very intense spiritual work I've done in the past. And I feel now called to use them to help others. So let's get started. So, for the human collective, I ask for divine, loving, supreme guidance. What is the earth energy of the human collective, the human consciousness? This is the earth symbol. Now, earth to me symbolizes the consciousness, what's going on in our waking world, okay, in our active world, in our physical, visceral world. And I see here that I pulled I call this the crown. I'll try to get a close-up to the camera there. It's the crown. There's 3 prongs there, as you can see. Now, this sigil represents royalty. It represents the crown. It represents power. knowing your power, figuring out your purpose. And I find that in the situation and path that we're on as the collective, going through, the lockdowns, the quarantines, this year has been deep, 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 deep self-reflection for many people and many different aspects of our path and what our true purpose is. If we choose to sit on our throne, if you will, if we choose to wear our crown, and despite how heavy that crown is, right? Despite what comes along with that, are we going to choose to allow our higher aspects of consciousness as a collective to manifest in the physical realm, in the earth realm, in our physical form? We have a choice. So that is what I feel very strongly. Also, there's much, I can go into the runes and what their true meaning is, how it's connected to the type of energy work that I'm into. But it also represents innocence in a way. It represents the connection to the heart. Are we going to choose to operate from a place, from the throne of our heart? Are we going to sit there? Are we going to choose to sit in this higher, with our higher self? Are we as a collective, are we going to choose to develop a relationship with who we truly are? I find it very interesting that with they mandate the wearing of the mask, right? And it forces us to wear the mask. They say you can't, your business can't operate if you don't enforce these rules, if you don't mandate the wearing of the mask. And I find it very interesting how even before COVID, we're all wearing masks. We're all playing out roles, like in a play. And it's very interesting how that's manifested into the physical. How now everyone is aware of the mask that we're wearing, that we've always worn. And now with our earth energy as a human collective, we have a choice to move upward, to ascend. And as you can see, the three prongs here points upwards, right? So it's a choice. That's what I feel here. But many people are having to either choose a higher road, a different space, a different vibrational, connection to the physical realm, or they can choose to continue and to do what they've always done, to think how they've always thought, to feel how they've always felt. So that's what I feel there. Okay. Next, we have our wind energy. Wind energy, to me and my personal interpretation of this energy, is breath, lungs, speech, thought. Let's see, our psychic ability, how we interpret our reality, telepathy, thinking, thought forms. this is what the wind energy represents to me. So let's see what, as the human collective, where we are now, our current space that we're in. Here we go. Okay. Wow. All right. So, some of my rooms don't have a name, okay? But as you can see, which I don't know if you can, but this is the numeral, Roman numeral 2. And on the left side, there is the sun, and on the right side, there is the moon. Now, how I'm going to interpret this for the Roman numeral 2 is that I see a doorway. I see a portal opening up here in this kind of ties in, no, not kind of, but it ties into the earth energy of the throne. I see choices that we have to make. You make a left turn, you make a right turn, you make a completely new path for yourself. This is the doorway. There's a doorway here that we can choose. We can choose the light to be illuminated, or we can enter into the unknown or the darkness, or we can choose a new doorway into our thinking, our thought, our mental state. And I've always felt that the unseen controls the seen, right? We can't see our feelings. We can't see our thoughts or our thinking. But those two things, okay, or states of being, control our earth energy. It controls our physical reality. It controls the actions that we choose to take. And so this ties in very nicely, because we have a choice to make as far as wearing our throne, claiming our sovereignty. We have a choice to carve out our new path. Or you can bypass, the new path that you have to choose to take, or we as a collective have to choose, right? That's what I'm feeling. I don't mean to sound dualistic of, right is white right is right and left is bad, okay? Or good versus evil, right? It's all kind of a little ambiguous, but I feel that with our thinking, with our mentality, the state of our mentality as a human collective, we're choosing. We need to be very careful with what we are being told. The narratives. Also, the wind energy deals with narrative stories, right? So yes, that's what I see here. Also, I see, let's see, the energies on this rune. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, 6 is a very feminine number, right? And what I'm getting is feminine energy, and the divine feminine as far as loving connection, loving thoughts, a higher state of thinking, of imagination, of breath, connecting to your breath, connecting to the inner knowing, being balanced in breath, in that prana energy. All right. for our water energy. Now, water, before I pull the next rune, water in my energy interpretation deals with, well, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. So the earth and wind energy is our it represents our consciousness, what's actively going on. Communication for wind, earth, it's like what we're building, right? And water and fire are our subconscious mind. Water deals with deep reflection, deep intuition, and our fire represents, again, that deep desire, passions, what we want. Okay, or no, not what we want, but fire represents the deep desire, sexual desire, creative power, life force energy. And water represents purity, the lightness of being, the mirror, innocence. So let's pull for water here. Oh, okay. Trying to see what's being... Magnetic. Magnet. So this is kind of what it looks like here. Like a magnet, if you can see that. In time, I will improve the quality of my videos. But that's what it looks like here. So, emotional, magnetic force. What are we as a collective emotionally pulling towards ourselves on a subconscious level? What are we pulling into our existence that's manifesting into our earth energy, our physical reality? We're going through a lot of turmoil right now. We're going through a social reset. We're going through the breakdown of certain systems and the continuation of certain systems and the building of a new, right? Building of new systems. We must be aware of our emotions. Don't be triggered by the narratives that's telling you to choose right or left. You have to choose your own path. And I know this is focused on the human collective, but every individual choice affects the whole. I feel that in 2021, whatever state you're in, wherever you're vibrating, will come to pass. You will attract what you are. Like attracts like. Your physical reality will match the vibration of your thoughts and your feelings tied to the choices that you make. I hear careful, being cautious, being careful, taking your time to really feel what you are, to really feel the choices that you are making. A lot of the time we will rush choices due to pressure, due to conditioning, programming, due to trauma, out of fear. But I feel like with this reading, really feel the feel the choices that you have in front of you. What does it feel like to, for example, open up a business? What does it feel like to end this relationship or partnership? What does it feel like to begin a new partnership? What does it feel like to start a family? What does it feel like to leave a job? What does it feel like to grow and do something new, to learn something new? Really being in alignment of the choices that you have are crucial, I feel. All that all that you are feeling, and when I say you, I mean the human collective, all that you are feeling will be magnetized. But our earth energy, we have a choice to take a higher road. But our programming, meaning our mental state, we have a chance to be balanced, to bring things into balance if we choose to carve out our own path. If we go by the narrative and what is accepted by the typical thing, like what's accepted, what is avoiding what's frowned upon, like it really is crucial for us as a species, as a collective, to carve out our own path. I keep getting that. Okay, so for our fire energy, let's see here. Oh, okay, this is a very powerful one. This is actually my personal symbol here. It's a V with 3 lines going across and the dot at the point of the V. Okay, this is the rune of the wolf. So we have the wolf energy and fire. The fire energy and wolf energy mixing together. Now, wolf energy is actually it symbolizes the wind energy. So communicating. So I just got communicating our passions, communicating our truth. That fire represents passion. It represents our most deepest desires. So that's what I'm getting. And the wolf represents communication. So this is very, very important. Communicating what is true to us. And when we look back and connect to the wind energy, right, where we have to choose and carve out our path, we have to actively communicate what is true to us. Otherwise, it can be, it's when you're not communicating and speaking your truth, you're wearing the mask, right? You're playing out a role. You're lying to yourself, right? Okay. And then in the very center we have ether, and my personal animal medicine is the butterfly. And so, let's see. And the butterfly, let's see what we'll pull here. The butterfly medicine, to me, is symbolic for source, God, okay? I like to use the word source instead of God, but there'll be room for a discussion on that later. Here we go. Okay. So this is the energy, or overall, like high, or our connection to source, and what source, how source is, I guess, speaking. You know, what's being reflected back to us, I should say, by source. So here, spirit, source. Oh, this is the rune. So this is also the dominant rune for fire energy. So fire, again, it represents illumination, light, sexual, creative, life force energy. And this is the eye. I call this the serpent's eye, or eye of the serpent, right? Okay. And it's in a diamond shape, and then there's a line in the middle. I'll try very hard next time to do this reading with more light. But here it is. And that is the supreme message from Source. Now, the eye represents illusion. It represents observation. It represents sight, third eye, to see the unseen, right? Occult, all of that. It goes, it's very deep. So observing, when connecting this to the human collective, the consciousness of the human, the consciousness and subconsciousness of the human collective. Observing our choices, observing our throne, the possibility of manifesting our highest and higher selves, higher aspects of ourselves. Observing, for our wind energy, observing our choices, beginning to really look at the frequencies and vibrations of our thought patterns and where that leads us. Because the mind is powerful. Now, there are many different philosophies on, ego, being mindful, being out of mind. But mind, to me, in my energetic interpretation, is that it is it's a tool. It's a tool, and it represents our psychic abilities, right? It represents the power of thought. So, observing the frequencies of our choices, the frequencies of our thinking, the vibrations of our thinking, how we communicate with each other, and observing our magnetic power, observing our emotional state, observing how our emotional state affects ourselves and each other. And then last but not least, observing, when it comes to the fire energy, observing our truth. The wolf, my wolf medicine is symbolic for truth, for our deep, intuitive truths. And so these are the 4 areas that we need to reflect on. I feel like in the next couple of months, like what's happening now to the next few weeks, to the next few months. But yeah, this is my first rune reading, and I hope and I feel that anything I've shared with you will, or with, hopefully it will resonate with someone out there. I've said something that will connect with you. There's so much I want to share. There's so much I want to talk about, and I feel like this first rune reading is the beginning for me, as a multidimensional being having a human experience. I truly, truly desire to help others, and I want to strengthen this practice. And thank you so much. And I feel so grateful that, if you made it through the video, I feel so happy and feel so grateful that you've listened, and I hope that you've taken something that will aid you on your path. So with that, I thank you one more time. I thank you so much, and wholeness and balance. And remember that we're always expanding our consciousness, we're evolving our human being, and we're embracing loving, supreme, divine guidance at all times. Thank you so much.